Last year, I built and reviewed the absolutely outstanding 500 series mic preamp, the Hairball Audio Lola. But that wasn't the end, for another was built. The Hairball Audio Elements Copper. You need to check this out. It's total, complete nerdy stuff, and it's coming right up. So, good day and welcome to the Time Preservation Society. I'm Aramis. Are you ready for the next step in high-end audio? Are your interfaces preamps a little ho-hum? Want to get the sound of big leagues without spending the big money? Keep watching. Oh, and subscribe if you haven't already and like it and all that stuff. Cheers! If you watched my review for the Hairball Lola, you know how insane these preamps are. If you haven't bought one yet, I don't know what to tell you. Sell a kidney or something. Well, the Lola isn't the only preamp Hairball Audio makes. No. Hairball Audio makes a line of 500 series preamp kits called the Elements series. There's the gold, the silver, the bronze, and the copper. The gold is a very pristine, clean preamp. The bronze captures that LA3A distortion. The silver is kind of a blank slate, and the copper has that distinctive British Neve sound. Think Neve 1073, that classic saturation that so many of us chase. We all pay cash money for plugins that emulate this sound. Some companies sometimes charge upwards of $300 for a Neve 1073 emulation plugin. The copper is that classic 70s British sound. This is one musical preamp. The components are all high-end, from Ed Anderson-built input and output transformers that are designed to perfectly match the distinct signature of the Neve 1073 channel strip transformers, to the pre-built Ison Audio BA512 op amps. The guts in there are far higher end with oodles more character than what's in your interface or recorder. And the price is impossibly good. Impossible. You'll just vomit when you hear how easily you can attain this high-end colored preamp. But you need to build it. Yeah, so that's what I did. And do you know how much I knew about building electronics? Nothing. Okay? Or at least that's how it started. I built these things with no experience at all. Okay, allow me to get you up to speed about all this stuff while I show you the footage of me actually building what I'm reviewing right now. So if you've been following my channel, you might know that last year I dipped my toe into the waters of electronics when I replaced a single capacitor in the AKG P420 mic to make it sound like a vintage Neumann U87i. It was easy. So then I decided I wanted to try building something instead of just replacing one part. I want to build something. So I built a massive dual-channel preamp and bus processor. And then Hairball Audio sent me the Lola, and then some of you contacted me and asked if I could build and review the copper. So that's precisely what I did, and that's what you're seeing right now. The kits come in little boxes of tiny Ziploc bags full of parts. The bags are labeled and the online instructions are clear. Put these parts here, and then solder, then clip. You know how I learned to solder? A couple of YouTube videos. It's so simple, you'll kick yourself for ever being daunted by it. Put the legs in the holes, touch it with solder and an iron, clip the legs off, next. It took me about 5 hours to build the copper. I did it over 2 days in my spare time. And you've been listening to it all along, of course. If you can hear some of that saturation coming in my voice, because it's sure not coming from this Roswell Pro Audio K87, the mini K87 here, which is really clean, really flat. Any of that nice saturation is coming from the copper. The copper is a simple mic preamp. It's got 48-volt phantom power button, a phase flip button, and a pad button. Then you've got your input gain and your output gain, and that's it. It's a 500 series preamp, so you'll need a 500 series chassis to slide it in. Some of them are expensive, some are cheap. Some expensive chassis suck, and some cheap chassis are great. But also, some cheap chassis suck, and some expensive ones are great. So I don't know half of you chassis half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you chassis half as well as you deserve. In the US, the Friedenstein Bentos have pretty good ratings and are cheap. $279 for a 2-slot jobby, or something like that. I went with the radial 6-pack for myself. But if you already have a 500 series chassis, then you're already set. Anyway, the Copper. Let's listen to some spoken word tests as I crank up the gain by tenths all the way to complete controlled filth. All right, so you're listening to the SE Electronics SE4100. I'm going directly into the Copper by Hairball. I've got the input gain at 3 and the output at full 10. All right, so this is the sound with the gain at 3. Let's bring it up to 4 and bring down the output to compensate. And now you're listening to it at 4. You can already hear a lot more saturation. And now we're going to bring it up to 5. And now you're hearing 5. I keep dropping the output down as I go up. So this is the sound of the Copper with an input gain at 5. Let's go to 6. And now you're hearing 6. This is the sound of the Copper at 6. Getting pretty loud too. All right, let's go to 7. And now you're hearing the sound of the Copper at 7. This is what it sounds like. Lots of saturation. Let's go to 8. And now you're hearing the Copper at 8. This is what it sounds like. A lot more saturation. All right, let's go to 9, see what happens. And you're hearing it at 9. Tons of saturation. Too much saturation. Amazing for music. Not so good for voiceover. All right, let's go to 10. And now you're hearing the sound of the Hairball Audio Copper at 10 on the gain. And this is the sound of it. All right, back to the video. So you saw the compression that happens to audio when you run it through the transformers and the op amp and all that stuff. All that saturation, all that color, it creates a compression. The more saturation added, the more compressed the audio gets. I had to manually, by ear, turn down the clips as the gain increased based on perceived loudness. Using just the meters would make the high gain clips sound 3 times as loud as the low gain clips. When you order saturation, compression is complementary. And, of course, I wrote a mini song for the Copper, so I could really test it out with recording actual music. Literally every instrument I played that you're about to hear was recorded into or put through the Hairball Copper. Some subtly, some less subtly. I figured I'd go for a funky soul type of sound. And yes, I wrote and performed all of this by myself. So without further ado, I give you Saturation Fascination. Saturation Fascination. Saturation Fascination. Saturation. Fascination with saturation. It's got that sound that I need. Ooh, I need it. This copper element is a known sensation. Everybody knows it. For both my mic and for my tweet. For my tweet. This Hairball Preamp is a new fixation. It gives my color and my creed. Oh, it's my creed, man. This saturation, this fascination, this smooth temptation has brought me to my knees. In case you didn't know, most of these little mini songs I write and record for my reviews are available on all the streaming platforms under the band name The Recordist, in case you ever wanted to hear them again without watching the whole video. So they're there. Just check it. Amazon Music, Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, all that stuff. Anyway, now is a good time to like and subscribe to help me make more and better videos. Cheers. Oh, I almost forgot. It measures. Oh, hold on a second. Let me just find my trusty old measuring tape here. Always to the left of me here. You know, this measuring tape was used by computer hacker Marty Bishop when he broke into a scientist's office on behalf of the NSA to steal a black box that turned out to be a very dangerous universal encryption decoder. I picked it up from NSA Director of Operations Bernard Abbott in San Francisco, I think back in 92. Anyway, it's a single-space 500 series unit. They all measure the exact same. I adore the copper. I adore it. It's got a somewhat darker, velvety tone that sounds 3D. Not almost 3D. It sounds 3D. It sounds real. It's the authentic, non-digitally emulated real sound of a Neve 1073. It's what we all want. And just wait till I tell you the price. Ah, crap, I can't wait. It costs $295. So, for perspective, the UAD Neve 1073 emulation that is like 19 years old this year costs $299 when it's not on sale. It was released in 2006. It is a digital emulation. Not that it's a bad digital emulation, it's just that it's digital emulation. You know, it's digital. This is a real, tangible preamp with real, tangible transformers in there. And amazingly enough, it was hand-built in the country and city that you live in with your hands for $295. Of course, you can order one fully built and ready to go for $595 if you want, but where's the fun in that? Nowhere. There's no fun. To get one, follow the link in the description below or go to hairballaudio.com. I love Seattle's Hairball Audio. Mike is a great guy and he designs stellar products. I cannot recommend the Copper or the Lola enough. I tell everyone about them when it comes up. Well, that'll just about do it for all of me here at the Time Preservation Society. More wine. Bye now. In transmission. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Watch these videos. Check out the Gods of Tone. All right. Bye.